The president said something that chilled me to the bone last night, and the audience cheered. Watch.
The executive branch also needs to change. Too often it's inefficient, outdated, and remote. That's why I've asked this Congress to grant me the authority to consolidate the federal bureaucracy so that our government is leaner, quicker, and more responsive to the needs of the American people.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, sure, it kind of almost sounds like he's not upholding the oath to preserve and protect the Constitution of the United States. He's trying to grab some more power, but maybe I misunderstand. Somebody said to me today, "Boy, you're not really giving him the benefit of the doubt." No. No, I'm really, no. I think I did that one about 3 years ago. I stopped doing that after they were just, what was it, pole vaulting and digging trenches under the fences and getting in any way they could. It sounded like our own president was blaming the constitutional framework for America's problems today. But I'm sure it's just me. It's probably nothing. I mean, I always get it wrong. The media is not concerned at all. So that's a tip that maybe we should be concerned. This is why we were asking for a definition of change in the time machine way back in 2008. Last night was a little staggering, and not in a good way. I mean, I stopped drinking too early. If I would have just known that Obama was going to be president, I would have saved some of those blackouts for nights like last night. He threatened to go around Congress yet again last night.
With or without this Congress, I will keep taking actions that help the economy grow. But I can do a whole lot more with your help. Because when we act together, there's nothing the United States of America can achieve.
Yeah. How true it is. When they act together, it's also constitutional. When they don't, it's not. He really wants to work with Congress. He does, but gosh darn it, he just doesn't know how. If they just would agree with him on everything and then just start making, just start saying this word, yes, to him, then he wouldn't have to be dictating all of these things. It's just hard to pass bills. Makes my head hurt. Let's just give him the power to ignore Congress. What we're seeing is from a book that I told you about a long time ago. It was Philip Drew, Administrator. If you read it, congratulations, you know it's one of the worst novels of all time. But it was Woodrow Wilson's favorite novel. He read it 4 times. And I'm telling you, it is playing out before our very eyes. If you read Philip Drew, Administrator, it's so bad, it's free on the internet. If you read that book, you will see somewhere out there in the ether, Woodrow Wilson is celebrating. You may understand the inefficiency the president speaks of. More common term, one we used to use, is kind of old-timey. It's called checks and balances. Yeah, our founders thought, maybe we should throw something in there like, I don't know, a wrench in the spokes of a crazy dictator, when they start moving so quickly, and trying to be more responsive for the American people. That's the way it always begins. Last night was nothing less than a president proposing an end to any and all checks and balances for a president. The founders wisely knew that giving one man too much power was a terrible idea. I don't think you should give me that power, because if you did, I'd make some changes. First of all, I'd have all the people of Hostess on my cabinet, and I'd meet with them. Anyway, this is why Washington rejected the title of king. Too much power in one man's hands only makes it easier for that one man to grab the government and clamp down on the people. All they need is an excuse, a crisis. Hey, I know, like a global economic crisis. No, that could never happen. Wait a minute. George Soros said in the economic crisis in the Financial Times this: it will be an excuse for cracking down and using a strong-arm tactic to maintain law and order, which carried out to an extreme could bring about a repressive political system, a society where individual liberty is much more constrained, which would be a break from the tradition of the United States. Well, at least he knows what our traditions are. He's exactly right. Interestingly enough, he is the same guy who, while I was at Fox, said that the Tea Party and people like me were going to cause, quote, this open society to be on the verge of some dictatorial democracy. He also mentioned that Orwell's book 1984, that we were actually helping make this happen because 1984 was causing our fantasies. Welcome to Fantasy Island. Is this a fantasy? 1984? Tonight we're going to do a show for you that I want you to check every word we say. Don't believe anything that we say, because this is a conspiracy. This is a fantasy. Tonight, don't take anything I say at face value. You do your own homework. You prove it right or wrong. And when you get to the end of that exercise, maybe you'll say, hey, spooky dude, not so fantasy, huh? Not kind of spooky.